If you own a criminal defense, family law, personal injury, or immigration firm, I want you to think about two numbers. The first is what you spent on marketing last month. 10, 15, maybe $20,000. You know that one to the dollar. The second is how many signed cases that money produced. If you'd have to guess at that one, keep watching, because the gap is why your revenue looks like a heartbeat monitor. Great month, a dead month, and then a scramble. It's why you take cases that you don't even want just to cover payroll. And it's why growing the firm has started to feel more like a threat instead of a goal. Because so far, the only growth lever anyone's ever handed you is you working more. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly what's broken. It's not your ads, it's not your effort, and I'll back the fix with a guarantee that no other agency in this industry will touch. But first, who am I and why should you care? My name's Clayton Mosbey, and I am the founder of Score More Clients. Before this, I spent years running campaigns at Hulu for brands like Nike, Disney, Amazon, and then led growth at agencies serving hundreds of businesses. And when I started working with law firms, I noticed something that no one else was talking about. Every agency, even the good ones, builds websites and ads for a calm, rational buyer. Someone comparing credentials, reading case results, taking their time. That buyer does not exist. Your client just got handcuffed in front of their kids, or rear-ended on the freeway, or served papers they didn't see coming, or told they have 30 days to leave the country. They're not comparing options. They're barely holding it together. We ran the largest study of its kind, 7,600 law firm websites. Each one scored against the actual psychology of a person in legal crisis. 36 passed. 3-6. Picture a stadium holding 7,600 people, and everyone whose website is built for their client's actual state of mind stands up. 36 people stand. The rest are paying to send terrified people to a page their nervous system rejects in about 50 milliseconds. That study became the trust frame, the system I'm about to show you. But first, you need to see the three places your firm is losing cases right now. They compound, and the real cost stays hidden until you see all three. Leak one, the 50 millisecond rejection. Someone searches for a lawyer at 2 in the morning and lands on your website. Their brain renders a verdict before they read a word. Heavy text, a dozen menu options, a form demanding details they're too panicked to type. They're gone. Not because you're a bad attorney, because nothing on the page made them feel safe enough to call you. You paid for the click. The firm down the street signed the case, and neither of you ever knew it happened. Leak two, the intake gap. The leads that do come through hit a system built for business hours. A form gets filled out Tuesday night, your office calls back on Thursday. A call rings out at 7 p.m. and no callback fires. But in a legal crisis, the first few hours usually decide who gets hired. And by day 3, an exhausted family stops searching for the best lawyer and defaults to the first one who actually responds. So your marketing can be generating real demand while your intake quietly bleeds it out. But unfortunately, on the report, all you see is leads didn't convert. Leak 3, and this is the one that keeps owners stuck for years, is that you've already tried to fix this. You hired an agency, maybe 3. They sent you beautiful monthly reports, impressions, clicks, traffic curves. But when you ask the only question that matters, how many signed cases did this bring me? They pivoted to brand awareness, and everything they built, you don't own it. Their ad account, their platform, their dashboard. The day you stop paying, it evaporates, and you start from zero again. You're not building a firm, you're renting one, and rent only goes up. Now stack those 3 leaks, and you probably get the life that you're living right now. Unpredictable months, cases you don't want, a budget you can't audit, a firm that needs you in the building for the phone to ring. You can't outwork that. It's not an effort problem, it's an architecture problem. The trust frame is an architecture that fixes it. It's built on the most uncomfortable finding in the study. Trust isn't won by credentials. Across 7,600 websites, the single strongest predictor of whether a person in crisis trusts a firm is whether the firm speaks to what they're feeling. The fear, the shame, the urgency, before it says one word about itself. Empathy outpredicted experience, awards, and case results combined. Almost nobody builds for that. The one firm in a market that does, they don't win by a little, they win by a lot. Here's what we install. Your website gets rebuilt on the Trust Frame's 7-layer crisis layout sequence. Decompression instead of clutter. 3 form fields maximum. 1 clear path. So the 2 a.m. visitor's nervous system says, safe, instead of run. Your intake gets rebuilt on the 60-second standard. A live human answering within 60 seconds. Day, night, weekends, holidays, plus a quiet text and chat door for the people that are too ashamed to call. And your team gets trained in crisis communication, because getting the phone to ring is only half of the game. Your ads get held to 1 number, cost per kept consultation. Not clicks, not leads, consultations that actually show up. If they didn't show, they don't count. For the first time, you'll know what a case costs in every single practice area. area. And spend becomes a dial, not a gamble. And then the part that no other agency will give you because it's against their interest. We operate on a renter to landlord model. Roughly 70% of our work builds assets that appreciate: your content engine, your rankings, your review flywheel, your referral systems. The other 30% goes to paid, strategically to drive cases while those assets mature. And everything lives in your name, on your account. The website, the content, the data, the ad account. We call it sovereign soil. If you ever leave, you take the entire machine with you. We can't hold you hostage, and that's by design. Now, over time, your dependence on paid shrinks and your cost per case drops. And because the content engine is scored by case value, we're not chasing volume. We're engineering the cases that you actually want. So growth stops meaning more of the work that you hate. And one thing most owners have never been told: a firm running on rented leads sells for about 1 times revenue. A firm running on owned assets, rankings, reviews, systems that produce without the founder, that sells for 3 to 5 times. On $1 million practice, that's a $2 to $3 million difference in what your life's work is worth. And it's built by the same system that's filling next month's calendar. Let me show you what it looks like deployed. Darren Levitt, a solo criminal defense attorney, Salt Lake City, years of agencies, same cycle every time. Big promises, pretty reports, no cases. He was spending $8,000 to $10,000 a month. And in the first quarter of 2024, that money produced 12 inquiries, 0 qualified leads, 0 consultations, and 0 cases. For Darren, it got bad enough that Darren stepped away from practicing law altogether. And then we deployed the trust frame. 1 year later, Q1 of 2025, 182 phone leads, 128 of them organic. That's not ad spend. That's the landlord system compounding. And in the first week of January 2026 alone, he signed 12 cases worth $122,700. And that's from a system that runs whether he's at his desk or not. Take another example. Craig Pena. He runs an immigration and criminal defense practice in Houston. Years of referrals and word of mouth, plus a marketing company whose main talent was collecting its fee on the first of every single month. We deployed the trust frame, and in a single week, his firm signed 14 cases worth over $72,000. These aren't mega firms with huge budgets. They're owner-operated practices, probably like yours. And the results repeat because they're not built on tricks or trends. They're built on how the human brain behaves under stress. That doesn't change. So here's what I'll put on the table. The trust frame will generate 20 cases for your firm in the next 90 days. And if it doesn't, we work for free until it does. Those are the actual terms of the engagement. And I can make that guarantee because we've deployed this system across enough firms to know exactly what it produces when an owner shows up as a real partner. 2 things before you book. 1, we take 1 firm per market. Once your market is filled, unfortunately, it's closed. And we do this so that we don't build this advantage for your competitor. The second is that this is built for established firms. If you've signed at least 10 cases in the last 90 days and you're ready to invest in real growth, then we should talk. Here's exactly what happens when you click the button below. Because we practice the same process transparency we preach. You book a call. Before it, we run your firm's trust frame score, the same 100-point diagnostic from the study. On the call, we'll show you where the 3 leaks are costing you cases right now and the math on what your market is worth. If it's a fit, you'll see the week-by-week plan. If it's not, keep the audit. Either way, in 12 months from now, your firm is going to be in one of 2 places. You own a machine that produces cases you want at a cost per case that drops every quarter, whether you're at your desk or at your kid's game, and the firm itself is worth multiples of what it is today. Or you're writing the same checks to the same platforms, hoping the next agency is going to be different. The owners who end up owning their market, they're not waiting, and they're building now. And in your market, there's only room for 1. Click the button below, and let's look at the math.